But is this content for you? That's a really hard question to answer because there's so much of this kind of content already out there. What's going on, guys? IkeGuitar here, and today we're tackling a review on Rhett Shull's tone course. The course claims to give you the fundamentals of great guitar sounds, all for the cost of $79. Is this 19-module series worth it? We're going to find out on today's show. I've broken up this video into two parts. First, the meat and potatoes, the objective part. Is the course worth it? Do they meet expectations? And is it worth spending your money on it? The second part of the video is going to be more subjective. What did I get out of the course? What do I think personally about it? And what I recommend it to other guitar players. Let's begin with a little backstory and give you an idea of who you're talking to here. So my name is Ike. I'm a contractual guitar player here in Nashville. I've been doing guitar work for about 4 years now. My genres range from rock to bro country to worship. Growing up in Northern Virginia, I took guitar lessons in high school, and I started to delve deeper into guitar music in college. I don't have a degree in music. I'm a self-made musician. I've learned from my mistakes. I've had successes and failures. And it's my hope that with this channel, I'm able to share those nuggets with you as we go through our guitar careers. So I've been following Rhett Shull for some time now. Rhett Shull is a guitarist and YouTuber, very successful. He has over 150,000 subscribers, and he tours with several bands in the Atlanta area. Being an early adopter of Rhett Shull's content, it's been great to see him kind of really explode over the past 2 years. I even supported him on his Flat 5 account for some time, and I've got the guitar picks to prove it. Rhett's a good dude. He's talented, straight shooting, and sincerely enjoys what he does. So this review comes from a place of good intentions. We do need to have objective feedback on our personal projects. And Rhett, if you're watching this, I sincerely hope you get something out of it. The course is broken down into 18 modules, each covering an aspect of your guitar sound, including fundamental tone techniques. Don't expect to go under the hood with each specific piece of gear known under the sun. Everything is laid out on the homepage, and I can safely say what you see is what you get. I bought the course in a pre-order promotion and was pleasantly surprised to find out that I could access the course as soon as Saturday, April 4th. The actual course went public Sunday, April 5th, and to those of you who did not jump on the pre-order bandwagon, expect to pay $79 to access the content. From a positive specific standpoint, the production value on these videos is incredible. You can expect crisp audio, immaculate lighting, great transitions, and overall the content flows very smoothly. Rhett did an incredible job creating this course. Secondly, Rhett does an incredibly good job of communicating in these videos. Even without visual aids, which there are none, Rhett clearly communicates things clearly, and I had no issue following him over the course of his modules. In short, these videos are shot like his YouTube videos. So if you find yourself able to track with Rhett on his actual YouTube channel, you're going to be able to track with him on this course. Over the course of the modules, the concepts were clearly articulated, and this course has immense value for any guitar player wanting to fill in gaps in his tonal knowledge, as well as have a resource he can go back to and review at will, specifically from someone who has spent a great deal of time perfecting his art form. So obviously no course is perfect, and I've laid out some very positive things about Rhett's content, but now I want to talk about some negative things about Rhett's content that I think could have been addressed a little bit better. Now I'm going to put an asterisk by this because there's a story that goes along with this. So originally when Rhett posted to Flat 5 with his tone course, the advertising said over 4 hours of content, and that was actually a really good deal. For $80, getting 4 hours of personalized teaching, even over 4 hours, is a really good bargain, which is part of the reason why I wanted to review this course. However, upon going into the course, there wasn't 4 hours plus of content. There was actually only about 3.5 hours. And I kind of felt cheated by it. It's kind of like going to a baker and buying a dozen donuts, but he only giving you 8 donuts. There were at least 45 minutes to almost an hour of content that was missing. And I wasn't super stoked about that, obviously. And so what do you do when your baker gives you 8 donuts? Well, you either request a refund or you ask him for a prorate. If you're not going to give me the full 4 hours you promised, at least prorate my cost for the 3.5 that you did give me. And so I sent out an email to Flat 5 regarding this issue. And honestly, it was an issue that I thought was pretty apparent. And I'm not going to give him a ton of crap on this, but it was just something that should have been dealt with on the back end before you release the tone course. Do your due diligence, at least know what you're promoting. If you're going to set expectations for a customer, you have to follow through on expectations, and especially true for a tone course. So for the amount of money you spend on this course, about $80, 45 minutes is a significant amount of time. I'm not picky if I can get at least 4 hours, but there's at least 45 minutes of content that wasn't there that was advertised. And secondly, I say there was missing content because there was some missing content. A couple of the videos, specifically the compression video and the ambient reverbs video, cut out early. It was pretty unprofessional at the time, and looking back on it, I'm like, how did that get past quality control? But essentially there were some videos that Rhett had uploaded to his course. They weren't checked, and essentially it cut off halfway through, so we're missing content on those videos. I say all these things with a big asterisk, because at the time, honestly, I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, I spent money on this, I expect the content that I was promised, and so I reached out to Flat 5. I had a little Karen moment. I'm not afraid to admit that. I had a Karen moment, and I said, hey, Flat 5, you guys promised me this much amount of content. I only got this much. I would appreciate it if you prorated me the amount of time that I missed out on, or you can refund me my purchase. So I was super surprised when Rhett Shull contacted me directly. And he essentially said, hey, Ike, sorry that the content wasn't what you thought it was going to be. I made some mistakes in adding up the time codes for the videos. And yes, there were a couple videos that cut off early or were missing. I'm re-exporting those right now. He was super apologetic. And he said, we're refunding you your entire purchase. Sorry for all the pain. And that was a super class act by Rhett. The man had a ton of character to be able to come to me directly and say, hey, he made a mistake, he owned it. And I give props to Rhett for that. That's a huge deal. And I was so impressed by that Rhett earned my respect even more than he had already. And with that, I'm just going to take that money and just reinvest it in his product. I might buy a FaceTime from him, or I might buy some merch from him. But essentially, that money I got refunded. I was so impressed by the way Rhett handled it, I'm going to give it right back to him. Super class act. Rhett, great job at handling that. And the best part about it is that Rhett took that feedback that I sent him in that email and he fixed it. The videos are re-uploaded. They've got the time codes appropriately measured for the advertising. Everything is as it should be on the website. And that to me is a huge deal. Great job, Rhett. Looking forward to talking with you sometime in the future. Alright, so as a personal subjective analysis of the work, I have some points to make. First, it is incredibly difficult to make incredible content like this at this level. Props to Rhett for getting something out there that looks as good as this does. Before YouTube, in order to get this kind of content, you had to purchase some lessons. Go to a music store and learn from one of the shop tellers. You had to go to a college class and learn this. You had to go watch your favorite band and ask them questions. The fact that we have a fundamental tone course at this high level of production is a huge deal. And I don't say that lightly. Listen, I've run the gamut when it comes to buying content. I've got Tim Pierce's content. I've got Brett Papa's content. Heck, I've even got Rick's Beato book. But they all pale in comparison to the way Rhett communicates his product and his passion to the world. It's direct, it's professional, and it doesn't waste your time. That to me is powerful stuff. But is this content for you? That's a really hard question to answer because there's so much of this kind of content already out there. I could literally go to reverb.com or Sweetwater and find an article on amp basics. If anyone takes about 20 minutes of their day to go find a helpful article about a fundamental aspect of guitar sound, they wouldn't really have to spend $79 on this course. But for those of you who are beginning guitarists, I wouldn't recommend spending the $79 to buy this course. I would much rather you buy personal lessons or a tube screamer you can use to find great sounds on your own. Heck, you can even go to a guitar center or a local music store to find workshops or sessions that work through things like this. I can literally take my local session player or my fellow church musician out to a nice lunch for $20 and learn all about what it takes to make great guitar tones. I can only speak from my experience, but when I first started playing guitar, I didn't even have the resources to even think about investing in my tone. And I mean like actual tangible resources like amps, guitars, and stomp boxes. I had an acoustic guitar and a hotspot from church. I couldn't even think about refining my sound, and I had gear that came nowhere near to the amount of gear that Rhett is using, or the cost. And there's something that I want to bring up. It's something I feel like that happens with successful musicians and YouTubers, and I call it ivory tower syndrome. What I mean by that is, Rhett is not speaking to you as a beginning or intermediate guitar player. He's speaking from his place of experience as a successful touring musician and successful content creator and YouTuber. Do you know how much the guitars that he uses costs? The Cirrus lines cost about $3,000 to make custom. You can buy them on Reverb for a little over $2,200. Do you know how much that Big Sky and Timeline are? They're about $450 a piece. As a beginner or even intermediate guitarist, I don't see the fundamentals of good tone. I need to buy all of this stuff to even come close to what Rhett is recreating here in his home studio. Maybe that's just me, but as a young guitar player growing up, I look at my $110 acoustic and I say, how am I even ever going to come close to making tone as great as Rhett's? And now I'm out $80 and nowhere to go. Now, I'm not saying that Rhett can't have nice things to explain his tone, but what I would have loved to see, and this coming from a guy who has thousands of dollars of guitar gear, is what can I do with a little bit? How do I get a decent tone that only costs about $500? If given the choice, do I get an expensive guitar over an expensive amp? What can I do with the little I have? And although this course does lay out the fundamentals of a good tone, I would have loved to have heard more about his philosophy on tone. What is it that makes a good tone a good tone? And do you need to fork over thousands of dollars to reach that mountaintop? I think that could have been addressed a little better, specifically with the demographic he was aiming for in the video course. Now, for the intermediate guitarist, is the course worth $79? And the short answer is absolutely. But let me explain. This course is not a silver bullet. But what this course does do is fill in gaps in your knowledge and give you great tools to begin experimenting with new sounds. This will not make your tone magically better, but it does offer an incredible resource you can come back to throughout the course of your career. The content is centralized, it's from a trustworthy resource in the community, and it's very direct. Would you spend $79 for 3.5 hours of instruction? That comes to about $22.75 a half an hour. That's a great deal. But let's be frank here. A lot of the content that Rhett talks about, he's already talked about before. It's in his YouTube videos. This content can be found elsewhere, so don't feel like you need to buy Rhett's course to understand the fundamentals of tone. And don't get me wrong, I think I got the fundamentals of great tone. But the difference between a video maker and a creator is that mentorship aspect, that personal connection. 15-year-old Ike needed to know how to make great sounds with what he had. Or at least, understanding what he needed to invest in himself in order to get there. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I post videos 3 times a week, all about guitar and all about the guitar communities. You don't want to miss me there. And of course, follow me on Instagram at IkeGuitar. I post things all the time there from my personal life, so if you want to know more about me, hit me up at Instagram at IkeGuitar. And of course, go and check out Rhett Shull's Flat 5 Tone Fundamentals course. I'll paste a link in the description below. It's a great course, and if you're an intermediate guitar player looking to fill in gaps in your knowledge, it's a great place to go. Go check it out there. And of course, guys, have a great day. Go pick up your guitar and go play something new. Talk to you later, and we'll see you guys next time.